Welcome, Vision Business Community. With us today, we've got Craig Macindoe of DarlingCrackles, and I think this is a topic that affects a huge amount of people. We're talking predominantly hospitality retail and how some of Craig's clients have absolutely gone gangbusters during this time, but also a bit of a broader talk, just about mindset and how people are sort of thinking during this time, and touching on leadership a little bit as well. Welcome, Craig.
Hey Dan, how you going?
Good, mate. Thanks for joining us. So, are you the Darling or are you the Crackles? Tell us about DarlingCrackles?
Do you think I'm the Darling or the Crackles?
I'm going to go with Crackles.
So my nickname is Crackles, and my business partner's nickname is Miss Darlinghurst. Her online presence is Miss Darlinghurst.
Mm-hmm.
So about a year ago, when I was looking after Spice Alley, and doing some work with a business called Eat, Drink, Play and Secret Foodies. And I'd known Alex for 9 years, since the beginning of Moo Moo days when I owned a steakhouse. And we got together, and I used her sort of extensively to help sort of bring Spice Alley to fruition and the whole Kensington Street precinct. And we sort of got together over a few drinks, and she said, we should do a digital agency together. And the next day I was like, oh, actually, that's a pretty good idea. I've always loved the marketing side of hospitality, as you know. And I just thought, oh, yeah, let's give it a crack. And so we came up with a whole lot of different names. And then I said, well, maybe we should look around our nicknames, because my nickname is Crackles. It's some say it's because I love, I had the steakhouse, so I love cooking pork. Others, it actually comes from my nieces, who used to call me Craigie Crackles, and then one of my friends caught on to it, and then so people just call me Crackles. And then my partner's name is Miss Darlinghurst, and so DarlingCrackles was born. And we hope that it's a name that people just remember.
It does have a bit of a catchy ring about it, that's for sure, because I sort of think of DarlingCrackles makes me think of sort of sweet pork crackling, which, most people love. So you're a digital agency, and so most of your clients, obviously, you've been in hospitality for 33, 34 years. You've had, pretty tremendous.
Since we work together, it's probably worth sort of saying our history. So Dan and I worked together. You and I worked together. I can't even remember the year, but we had a New Orleans cafe and on the corner there at Crow's Nest, and it was a cracking time. I think we were the first people. We're doing live music. We were the first people some of the first people to do email advertising. I remember we had the first people. We had Martin, who did the website where we actually had the bands up online, and we had live music. And it was a great fun time. Lots of great times there. And that was really the sort of seed of, okay, well, I love hospitality, but really I've got 3 kids, and I want to share what I've learned, all my mistakes with the rest of the world.
I wasn't sure if you were going to bring that time up, so we might as well give a quick throw out to the old New Orleans crew. And I think anyone who lived on the North Shore, sort of, especially around sort of 2002, 2006, New Orleans Cafe was a small spot from a seatage perspective, but it was known as the place to go out if you didn't want to go out. And it was, the sort of parties and fun times we had there, you just could not do that anymore anywhere in Sydney. And
nuts. Remember we used to keep it at 12:30 in the morning. I used to turn the lights up full, and I used to just say, everybody just fuck off. And people would just kind of laugh at you. And by 1 o'clock, they'd sort of, we could have opened that place till 3 o'clock in the morning most morning. And that would be Monday through Sunday, right?
Monday through Sunday. That was on Monday night. We'd be having to turn the lights up when the pub across the road was already shut. New Orleans Cafe was just absolutely jamming.
It was great fun times.
Okay, so look, we better get down to business. So you're a digital marketing agency. DarlingCrackles is a digital marketing agency. So what sort of clients are you working with?
So just go back a step. We just picture ourselves as a marketing agency, and okay. I would say that because I'm a firm believer that sometimes there are things that are just really quite obvious, but they're only obvious if you've got a whole lot of experience. Like as an example, we had an underground bar that we were working with just before Christmas. And I said to them, look, I can do Facebook ads for you. I can do, we can do digital stuff, a whole lot of digital stuff for you. Like, we can do databases and all that sort of stuff. But really the best thing that's going to be for you is buy a television. I'll do up a video montage for you. You're on York Street and just watch the people go by, and we'll just do like a whole lot of really good pictures of your food's amazing. Do some really good pictures of your food and your atmosphere. And then also we'll just have a few quotes from TripAdvisor and that sort of thing, third party. And they were just amazed at how something that simple just worked so well. I mean, the other thing is, still, you can actually still get quite a bit of traction from, I was saying the other day, like now neighborhood restaurants are really the big thing, right? Because everybody's working from home, but they will still be thinking, I've got to get on Instagram. And I think there's a big market for them to actually do, some mail drops, so in answer to your question, well, it actually wasn't a question, I was just correcting you, but we're a marketing agency. So I just say we put bums on seats.
Yeah.
That's all we do. And so we work with groups, we work with individual venues. We like to work with people who are actually really passionate about what they do. We have some people that I've worked with in the past. Like the last thing in the world I want to do is have a client who doesn't love what they do, and then they want me to get them clients. They want me to get people in the door, because really your job is to make good quality food, keep your environment really nice. And then my job is just to get bums on seats. And once I get a few of them in, we can build your business really quickly.
Well, on that point, what's the mindset of a business owner in the food retail sector at the moment? They're scrambling to make ends meet. I don't know many restaurateurs who can cover the JobKeeper payments for 2 months until the payments start coming through in May, or it's sort of 1 month now. They're all in absolute damage control, and they need to find ways not just to pivot in their business, but also they need to find motivation and skills around leadership as well. So how do you change your dialogue with your customers?
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing is there's two points I want to really pick up on there. The first thing is leadership. And just before we started recording this, I said, one of my favorite quotes is that you're really not a leader until the shit hits the fan, right? And so before that, you're just in charge. So there's plenty of people that go along and actually, they make a good product and they kind of accidentally fall into, and now that's really simplifying it. And I don't want to simplify, successful businesses, they're good on them, but there are people who have put sort of a good quality product on the plate and they've naturally grown, right? And those sort of people will go on and they just keep on putting a good quality product on the plate, and great. And a lot of those times they just keep on going. But it really takes a moment like this, probably even a moment less than this, when they don't actually know the triggers to pull to, like if their business sort of starts to go off, what triggers can they pull to bring those people back in? Now, I'll give you an example from Crow's Nest days, and it's none of my businesses at all. It's actually the guys from Garfish opened across the road from Matthew's Peacock Gardens. Now, Matthew's Peacock Gardens was the place to go if you were in the advertising world or in the television world, and Matthew's was packed all the time, lunch and dinner all the time. And then this place opened across the road, a little place, the Garfish, and they did a nice presentation, really nice, just fish restaurant. And Matthew actually had no way of contacting his clients. And he actually, sometimes he was actually walking across the road and handing out little sort of savoury treats to people who were sitting at Garfish to try and get them to come back in, because he had this whole monopoly for years. But he had no way of contacting people afterwards. I mean, what he should have done is he should have actually gone to his reservations book and gone, okay, let's create a database. I mean, that's been the big success for some people we're working with at the moment. Is I went into a group and they had not actually. I actually pitched to them. I said, look, I love your restaurants, but your EDM is rubbish. Mm-hmm. And they turned around to me and we're like, well, we don't care really about EDMs at all. Anyway, so I went and had a look at that. I said, do you mind just give me a look at your database and I'll see if we can help. Anyway, they had a database of 120,000 people, and they could only talk to 25,000 of them because they had their booking platform made it so that they had purposely unticked all these names, right? And so what I did was I broke the database down into 3 areas, right? I had a master database, which was the actual group database. And then I created an individual database for all 3 venues, right? And that gave us the ability to talk to not 25,000 people, but 195,000 people, right? I did that by actually talking to the database company and saying, you know, we've got to be able to contact these people are our customers. We've got to be able to contact them. And then we created a talking piece around the overall, the overarching business and then the individual businesses. And that has a number of really powerful things. Firstly, that people can unsubscribe from one if they don't want to, like if they don't want to hear from one restaurant, they don't necessarily unsubscribe from another. Whereas if you only have one database and it's all tagged, if they unsubscribe from one, they unsubscribe from the whole thing. So that gave us incredible reach. And they've never sold out a ticketed event before. And we created ticketed events and they sold out straight away. Bang, bang. We were on a bit of a roll and this whole COVID thing hit. And then they turned around to us and were like, this is devastating. We don't, you know, we've got to we've got to reschedule the ticketed events. We've got to, you know, what are we going to do? And together we came up with
you may be getting to this point already, but, you know, their businesses, like a lot of businesses have, you know, over the space of almost a weekend, you know, turned to nothing. How have you helped your clients pivot now?
Well, I mean, there seems to be very little that a restaurant business can do, right? So at this point, it's like, okay, it's all out there. So you can actually sort of become a bit of a providor. So you could do some home delivered boxes, or you could create like a supermarket out of your actual space. Now that will really depend on where your space is. And I know that there's some places which have got sort of in quite busy areas. Like if you were in Surrey Hills or somewhere like that, I think, you know, create a little corner shop with, you know, really high-end products. That might be quite good. I know that Nell created a produce box, right? So he created, you know, his restaurant quality produce, and we'll ship it to your door. And he's sold quite a few of those boxes. In fact, he's been one of the sort of success stories about that. He pivoted very early, almost immediately, and then he went out to as many publications as he could and got quite a bit of traction with that. Our group was a little bit more, because they were doing produced product like a heat and eat, they wanted to sort of stage it and grow sort of incrementally, so you don't want to ruin your brand. And so they, initially it was all phone orders, and this is what a lot of people are having problem with, is the restaurants are kind of going, come and pick up and we'll take orders over the phone. And that's just, you know, you're just going to get so many people that are going to get frustrated with that. You've got to make it easy for people to order. You know, so we created a digital ticketing platform for them, which was part of something we already had. And then we just sold tickets to certain areas. And like last week, they did 300 and something feast boxes. And that's about 15 grand worth of sales.
Can we touch on this digital ticketing platform? You know, how does a restaurant that, you know, because I think what a lot of restaurants are trying to do is they're just simply trying to find a way to offer home delivery or pick up as the only solution. But, you know, you're also talking about sort of takeaway packages and boxes. But what is the ticketing system that you've developed? Can we touch on that?
I mean, really, that's actually an inbuilt one in my guest list. So there are a number of platforms out there. There's Moby to Go. There's a number of ones out there that actually you can use at the moment. I know that the guys from Now Book It are doing one. My guest list has got its own ticketing platform inbuilt. I know Moby to Go. I know the guys from Automate are trying to do it. A lot of the point of sale guys are trying to use this as a because they already have a point of sale, to do takeaway and pickup is not a big change for them, right?
Mm.
So automated doing one, counters doing one, KOUNTA. So there's quite a few of them out there that are actually pivoting to that sort of, okay, well, we can provide you with a way for you to sell takeaway and pickup and delivery, right? Because your initial thought is, if you want to pivot really quickly, you kind of got to go with the people who've got the reach, like Uber Eats and Deliveroo, right? Now, if you're losing 35%, very difficult to make money on that. And the thing is that you've got to think, in my mind, you've got to think about, okay, I'm changing my business. I've got to look at this as if I was starting a whole new business. So I want to make sure that everybody who orders from me, I know who they are, so I can remarket to them, because that's how you build a business, right? And so
do you have an example of a success story, and can you go through exactly what they've done?
Yes, so this group we did, so they do takeaway and home delivery. And
which business is this? Can we name the business?
Yeah, actually, I'm not sure. As I haven't asked them whether I can tell them, I probably shouldn't.
We'll say it's one of your clients. So tell us about their sort of success story.
So they went in and goes, okay, right, how are we going to do this? They moved all 3 venues into one venue, turned it into a sort of dark, almost like a dark kitchen. They started with just takeaway and pickup, right? And then it was all phone orders. And what I said is, and the first weekend we sent out an EDM to their database, which is about 96,000, one of their databases, and they got inundated with orders. And so you then have to create an online system, but they didn't want to. They were smart. They didn't want to just, let's just open the floodgates. I hear stories of a friend of mine down in Melbourne. He works for a really well-known Asian restaurant down in Melbourne, and they just opened the floodgates. And he said it was absolute bedlam, because they did Uber, Deliveroo, their own system. And he said at one stage he was standing there with 100 orders in his hand, and he was like, I've got no idea how I'm going to get these out. So you kind of got to ramp it up.
You've got to be really careful. You've got to be really careful to protect your integrity and protect your brand as well by not sort of being too foolish and moving too quickly, I guess, is what you're saying, and sort of really.
Takeaway is one of those things, right? I mean, and you can build a good repeat business out of it. That people you can build a habit out of it, but it's you've got to do it properly. Absolutely.
What do you think the retail landscape is going to look like? I think not to say that many of the people watching this are. We don't know. If you are a food retail operator out this, but also if you have a friend who is a food retail operator, or even an employee, definitely share sort of this video with them, because how it is going to be a gradual transition out of this for food retail, to depending on where you are geographically, but also what is food retail going to look like as we sort of transition back to normal? What can business owners be doing now, and what do you think the landscape will look like when people are out spending again?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a good question, isn't it? Because we don't really know what it will look like. I mean, the guys from Me and You, Stephen Communico, who's the ex-CEO of Dimmy, he just put out a paper which was saying, number one thing is that the people are going to spend less, but they're going to want more for that less. So after the global financial crisis, what happened was that was the rise of fast casual. So you have people that before, that was almost like the death of fine dining, where your average check went to sort of $52 a person, and that was really where it was, because people still want to go out, but they just didn't want to spend the money. And that's where you also had a whole of your other rise of the burger chains, all those sort of places where you still want to feel like you're going out, but you just don't want to spend the money. So I think that as this comes out, people have got to be really cost conscious. because that'll, with their menus, because that's really going to be the place that people are going to want to get out, absolutely. But they're going to be very, very cost conscious because not many people are going to have much money. And I think you're going to have to be super efficient, right? So you're going to have to, if you're going to reopen, I would be taking the job keeper thing, trying to keep as many staff as you can, and just try and work on all your systems and procedures, and work on your efficiencies, and potentially look at new technologies that are going to take staff out of your business. Because I think the whole idea of the person-to-person contact, not as important as it used to be, and people will probably be a little bit more. There'll be more take up of digital technologies that allow you to order and pay at the counter and things like that. Because and that's really, you've got to be able to create some efficiencies there, because otherwise, I mean, up until before the pandemic, people were running their wage costs at 40-45%, and that's just unsustainable, and in anyone's mind. And you've got to start thinking about, what am I providing to the person? So you have to really sort of look at, how does the interior actually make people feel in terms of, am I taking them a bit of an escape? Because up until now, a lot of hospitality venues have just been about convenience, right? And people have been very happy. Like, there's been lots of money splashing around, so people have been very happy just to sort of pay for that convenience. But I think if you build a reasonable takeaway business, or you build a reasonable sort of, I think there's a business around connecting with people on. I'm doing a thing next week for a party, right? For those who don't know, my background is I'm a chef by background, and so I'm doing someone's party, and it's a Zoom party, and the husband's sending all the people the ingredients, and I think I'm doing a salmon niswa or something like that. We're going to do some dehydrated olives and anchovy, and then I'm going to teach them how to do that. So we'll probably do 2 courses, and then they'll have a bit of a Zoom party. And I think that actually, that real connection, you're seeing a lot of the chefs out there on Instagram just trying to teach people how to cook at the moment. And I think there's a business in that, like you've got this Hello Fresh, but could you take it to the next level and be, all about the chefs, and this is how I cook, I actually thought about it today. I thought we could do it with Australian pork and just do, you are getting porked or something. I can have a box delivered to your house, and then there's a Zoom, chef, and you can have 20 to 30 people learning how to cook.
This is a topic that's come up a couple of times in our interviews, and we'll wrap it up in a sec. But it's interesting to hear you talk about this new opportunity, because I think people, they're not even working out yet what their opportunities are. And you've got to find the people who have areas of expertise in your industry, even if it's just for a different perspective or to learn something different. When you talk about marketing, be it digital or non-digital, what I gather from what you're saying is that there's no one size fits all. Something has to be tailored to a specific business, their specific products and services, the tools and strengths and weaknesses that they already have in place. Can people get in touch with you to have a conversation about their business and what potentially they can do? Because the thing about you is you come at it from all angles. You come at it from a pretty illustrious chefing background. You've been a business owner multiple times in the food retail space. You've done a lot of advisory work in the food retail space. You're one of the first people to start doing EDM marketing and Twitter and all those things, all those years ago.
Yeah.
Is it okay for people to get in touch with you? Can we post your details below?
Yeah, I'm certainly happy. So we have a number of products, and I'm certainly happy to have a discussion with someone for 10 or 15 minutes for no charge whatsoever, just to see if there's any way we can help them. That's absolutely fine. We are sort of about 80% finished on a product which is a digital education piece, which is all around marketing for hospitality business. So you've got a whole lot of downloads, and it's a subscription-based product. And then obviously there's, like hiring our services, which is a bit more expensive.
Okay. Mate, thank you for your time, indeed. Thank you very much.
It was great to catch up, even if it's great to catch up, even if it's over the Zoom.
Everyone, this is Craig Macindoe from DarlingCrackles. We'll post his details below. Thank you, Vision business community, for watching. More videos coming soon. And thanks so much for joining us, Craig. Thanks for your valuable time.
No worries, anytime.
Yes.